You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. In many occasions we have expressed doubts that R. Kelly's accusers were ever victims in any way, even though government has over the years packaged them so well into a box and labeled it victim for the world to believe R. Kelly harmed them in some ways not evident. And among these accusers' stories is Faith Rogers, the woman who, in spite of meeting R. Kelly when she was already way above her 20s, saw R. Kelly charged on her account for both forced labor and Mann Act charges combined. In fact, during the New York appeal hearing, both charges for forced labor and Mann Act violation were vehemently objected by R. Kelly's attorney Jennifer Bonjean, who made very good arguments in this regard. When it comes to the forced labor charges, she didn't need to say much. While the appeal judges were not convinced that a sexual act should be regarded forced labor, Bonjean's focus was on the fact that these were one-time incidences being wrongfully categorized as forced labor, and it's not right. Forced labor must be a pattern of behavior and not a one-time event, whether forced or not. In fact, when listing forms of forced labor, we mention situations like debt bondage commonly done to migrants, where they ate tricked to work for little or no money to repay a debt. An employer will in fact use different tactics to trap the victim in an endless cycle of debt which can never be repaid, and this debt may even be passed on to their families. We may also mention trafficking and other forms of modern slavery where people are trapped into a system that requires them to work endlessly for little or no pay at all. Meanwhile, in the case of Faith Rogers, she had been enjoying a causal relationship with R. Kelly that saw her traveling to different places to meet and enjoy intimate moments with him, but this one time she allegedly found a gun on his table the government wanted to call forced labor. There is no statement recorded in the trial transcript that shows Faith Rogers did not want to do what Mr. Kelly asked for, and no record that shows she ever told him she didn't want to do it. However, the shrewd government, which was only interested in building a forced labor case against R. Kelly, asked her to testify and frame him, which she did, and as a result, R. Kelly is currently in prison serving a sentence greatly contributed to by the forced labor charges. Moving to the Mann Act charges in relation to Faith Rogers, the allegation was that she too was transported across state lines for the purpose of committing crime. Bonjean, however, argues this out, saying there is no way R. Kelly could have purposefully ferried any of these women to another state to intentionally expose them to an STD without any motivating factor. And according to the appellate attorney Bonjean, since the government failed to prove that the significant motivating factor for the transportation was to expose these women to herpes, which is a violation of public health law, the convictions cannot be sustained. In fact, Bonjean adds that these rather vague statutes are often used for discriminatory enforcement, like is being done to R. Kelly. Same thing was done to first black boxing champion Jack Johnson. On matters of forced labor, therefore, Bonjean concludes that isolated sex acts cannot be regarded as forced labor or service. The government therefore failed to prove violation of federal forced labor laws, and R. Kelly should be acquitted on these charges. To make matters even clearer, Faith Rogers, whom the government did everything in their capacity to package as a victim, did mention during one of her podcast interviews on the paper route that she was not a victim on matters to do with her involvement with R. Kelly. In fact, she stated that she had made her own choices and no one forced her to do anything. And when she was asked about the interview during the New York trial, she actually did agree that she said these things under cross-examination. It's interesting that the government presented Faith Rogers as a victim, yet she denies her own victimhood and says she is not a victim but an adult who made her own choices. But this shows just how far the government was willing to go to implicate the R&B King and have him locked up for no legitimate reason. Her confession, however, further nullifies the claims of forced labor, for she herself during the New York trial admitted she always made her own choices as an adult woman, and that no one forced her into anything she did not desire. And in fact, Faith Rogers was right when she said this, considering the latest of information suggesting she started dating R. Kelly knowing well she already had her own herpes infection, and wanted to claim she contracted it from him in a get-rich-quick game of extortion. For government which does not have proof that she and her colleague Azriel were safe themselves before they met R. Kelly to come out and state that R. Kelly infected them with an STD is just pure guesswork. And this is where we have a problem. R. Kelly was convicted basing on assumptive speculations of what could have happened based on the stories told by non-credible accusers and not factual evidence. This presumptive approach to R. Kelly's conviction is in fact a reserve for civil cases where accuracy of allegations is not as critical. This approach, which was adopted in addressing a criminal case on federal level, was a huge blunder, and it is this negligence that is going to see most of the trial court decisions dully reversed, if not the entire conviction overturned. According to Melanie Smith, in fact, these accusers together with their parents all stole from R. Kelly. Unfortunately, the government seems more interested in punishing R. Kelly instead and will not do anything to these alleged victims and their families for what they did to R. Kelly. It seems okay to the DOJ that a man like R. Kelly be extorted by everyone else but not the other way round. It's a shame this is happening. According to Joyce Sanders, this BS would have been over a long time ago, if KM Fox was held accountable for double jeopardy the moment she brought back a case from decades ago for which R. Kelly had been acquitted. In fact, most charges are bound to be overturned in the appeal court and R. Kelly will soon be a free man again. The appeal judges already expressed concerns about the restitutions that were paid to principal witness Azriel Clary to a tune of over $300,000, yet the public health law referred to in that state had been repealed. It is not yet known whether she will have to repay the amount back to defendants in response to a pro rata order, but if this is confirmed during deliberations, we may see her struggle a great deal to recover this money so she can pay it back to the R&B king. And this is yet another confirmation of what we did speak on when Judge Ann Donnelly was rushing to have these women paid like she had something to gain from this. She definitely knew the loopholes and was hoping all this happens after they have received their killing. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.